Namaste, everybody. Have you all got a yoga strap and a block of some sort or the equivalent? That would be great. Have that at the ready. It was the summer solstice on Monday, and that makes it International Yoga Day as well. So big day to celebrate yoga. And sun salutations, very big part of that. So we've got our sun salutations, but we're going to do a moon salutation to celebrate the full moon as well. So we've got these two opposites. So with that in mind, come to a seated position that's comfortable for you. Nice tall spine. Relax the shoulders. Close the eyes if that's okay for you, and bring the attention to the breath. Have a few nice, deep, calm breaths. Thinking about opposites. And this comes into yoga a lot. The yin, the yang, the sun, the moon, the heat, the cool. And this applies in our life as well as yoga. And we must resist the temptation to label one thing as good, one thing as bad. They all have their benefits. So even though we've had rain recently, we, might look forward to the sun, but the rain is just as important, especially for the garden, especially to make the trees and plants and vegetables and fruits grow. So let's welcome in whatever is offered up to us and try and find the best of it, the good things from it. So take a nice deep breath in and out to that. And have a little roll of the shoulders. Good. And then bringing your hands onto knees or thighs, either sitting cross-legged or with the feet out in front, the knees bent. I want you to take a few rotations around on the pelvis. Good. Starting to make the movements a little bigger. Let the head get involved. Let the shoulders move. When it feels the right time for you, pausing and then going in the opposite direction. We're starting to warm up hips and shoulders. Good. And then bringing it to stillness. Let's come to all fours. So tabletop pose, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Finding that neutral spine to start with. And lengthening out through the crown of the head and the sit bones. Take a lovely deep breath in. As you press into your hands and breathe out round the back, drop the head, stay there for a breath or two. So in our cat stretch, reaching the spine up towards the ceiling. Letting the head hang down heavy. And then as you feel the next inhale coming, tilt the pelvis forward. Let the belly relax. Lift across the heart. Lift the head a little and stay here in our cow pose for a couple of breaths. When we stay in these postures, we might feel that maybe we're taking the neck too far back into flexion. It needs to be a nice gentle curve of the spine. We might feel our hands are uncomfortable or wrists. So just exploring what you could change to make these poses more comfortable. And then in your own time, start flowing through one and then the other. So inhale, opening, lifting the heart. Exhale, rounding the back. Pushing into the hands, reaching up for a stretch. Feeling whether you want to make these movements big or small today, whether you want to start making them more organic, so bending the elbows, moving the hips, Maybe shifting the weight from hand to hand, letting the head flow and sway. Maybe coming backwards and forwards, S shapes or figure of eight. However you feel your body wants to move today, fast, slow, working with your breath. Good, getting that spine lovely and warmed up. And then again, coming to stillness, decide whether you'd like to walk the hands forward for a puppy dog stretch, half down dog, or having the hands just a little way in front of the shoulders, tuck the toes and come into a downward facing dog. And again, exploring how this is for you today, walking the feet out. If you're in that puppy dog, stretching one foot behind, flexing the toes and pushing out through the heels. If you're in downward facing dog, you can alternate. And then walk yourself into a forward fold. So bringing the feet towards the hands, dangling down with soft knees. And let's think about the head being like a piece of ripe fruit on the tree. Really letting it go. So let the neck be long. Let the arms either dangle or maybe the fingertips are touching the floor. And let's just have a little stretch into our hamstrings. So exploring bending the knees a little deeper and rising up halfway. And then exhaling, lifting the hips, dropping the head and hands down again. See how that feels in the back of the legs. Maybe do that a couple more times. Just waking up the muscles that are going to get a stretch in a minute. And then deciding whether you're going to be feet closer together or hip width apart. Pressing down into the feet and to the fronts of the feet especially, and rising up. You can roll up or float up, whatever is best for you. Bringing the hands to the heart when you arrive there. Good. And we're going to take our sun salutations. So doing the gentle variation that we've been exploring. There are many, many options for sun salutation, but we're going to work through this one together. Slowly, once each side, and then a little faster. So if you're not already at the top of your mat, make sure that you're near the top so you've got room to step behind you. On an inhale, we're going to take the arms out and up above. On an exhale, fold forward, touch the floor, come into a forward bend. And the right foot then steps back into a lunge. Make sure that left knee is over the ankle. Try and lift the heart forward, opening across the collarbones. If you want to, you can look forward, even up a little. And then pressing down into the hands, step back to downward facing dog. You can stay here or you can drop immediately to your knees. I don't mind. So whenever I say downward facing dog, if you prefer kneeling, that's okay with me. Then from downward facing dog, everybody is going to come together. Drop to your knees, going to lift the heart, lift the tailbone. So cow pose in this particular version. And then an exhale, we'll take the hips back towards the heels and we rest down in child pose. So let this be a resting breath. Thinking about the next one, cobra, and how you're going to move into it. Okay, you can slither along the floor and rise up, or you might want to lift the hips and drop them forward. You can bend the elbows, so this could be a low cobra, or you could keep up high in a high cobra. Let's have a little sway of the hips. Let's get the back used to this back bend, and then take the hips back. Again, you're either staying in kneeling or tucking the toes, lift all the way into downward facing dog. Now, our stepping forward bit. We're going to step the right foot forward. That means getting a little spring in the step, pushing off with the left foot, reaching that foot up and over and through. And if it doesn't land between the hands, you've got all those tips, dropping the back knee, shuffling it forward, You can always do the next bit to get yourself a little further forward as well. So the next stage is to come into a forward fold, bowing down, and then pressing down into the feet to rise up. If you haven't made it to the front of the mat, that's the point, to take just a little fairy step forward and bring the hands to the heart to finish. Take a breath here, then we'll do the other side. Inhaling as we float the hands up. Exhaling as you come down into a forward fold. This time the left foot steps back into our lunge. Think about, how can I open? How can I energize this posture? And then the exhale takes you back to down dog. So this is a softer, introverted pose. The inhale brings you to kneeling, and again, you're thinking about opening the heart, lifting forward. The exhale takes you back to child pose, and you rest. Working into cobra, so thinking about, do you want to come forward and up, or up and drop the hips? Two ways to come into it from that position. And enjoy the moments. Again, opening across the heart, pointing the toes back, trying to keep that lumbar spine relaxed so you can engage the tummy muscles, the side of the waist. You can explore taking the feet wider. You can keep it down low. Just have a think about how you want to spend your cobra breath. And then let's take it back to downward facing dog. Exhaling. Straightening the legs as is right for you. Okay, you don't have to. I'd rather have a long back and bent knees and straight legs and a rounded back. And then thinking about that step forward. So it's the left foot this time going to step forward as best you can between your hands. You can always drop to the back knee instead of being in a high lunge here. Happy for it to be a low lunge. And then you step the right foot forward to join it. And you're in your forward fold again. Pressing down, rooting down. You rise up on an inhale. So you use that rebound of energy to bring you up, lifting the arms and bringing them down to the heart to finish. Take a break for a moment. So come into Tadasana, our mountain pose. And just want to say a couple of things that a sun salutation traditionally is done one pose, one breath. So it's quite fast moving, it's quite fast paced. And there's so many options about getting you forward and back on the mat. So you have to discover what helps you to feel like it's flowing. Okay, so I am all for modifications if it helps you stay in the moment, stay with the breath and your movement. And I saw some horse jumping this week and thought, that's another analogy for that step forward. Think about a horse, how it has to get the height and the propulsion to go up and forward in that step forward in lunge. So now you can think that you're like show jumpers jumping over a hurdle to get that foot to the front of the lunge. Just another thought to put in your head. Right, let's flow, yogis. Don't worry if you want to go slower than I will call out. That's absolutely fine. But a few sun salutations like this each day, you'll soon get into the habit of doing it a little faster, if that's right for you. So hands at the heart to start with. Inhale, exhale to prepare. Inhale, take the arms up. And exhale, flow down to a forward fold. Inhale, right foot back into lunge. Exhale, downward facing dog or kneeling. Inhale, come to your knees, lift the heart, lift the head. Exhale, draw the hips back to child pose. Inhale brings you through to cobra, your own way. Exhale, taking the hips back, either staying in kneeling or all the way back to downward facing dog. On an inhale, the right foot is going to step forward into your lunge. Exhale, the left foot joins it and you're in a forward fold. Press down, rise up on the inhale. And the exhale brings the hands to the heart. Step forward if you're not, back to the front of your mat. We'll take an inhale, exhale here. Lovely. Inhale, rise it up. Exhale, down into a forward fold. Left foot steps back this time. Lift and open on that inhale. And then the exhale into down dog will come straight to kneeling. Inhale, lift the heart, lift the head for cow pose. Exhale, take it back to child. Inhale, forward to cobra, opening the heart. Exhale, back to down dog, making our journey back again. Left foot forward this time, into the lunge. Exhale, right foot joins it, bow down. Press down into the feet, rise up. Exhale, hands to the heart, take a breath. I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to go a little faster. Do not worry if you do not want to go any faster than that. We get that circulation going. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, flowing down. Inhale, right foot back, lunge. Exhale, left foot back, down dog. Inhale, kneeling, lift the head. Exhale, child pose. Inhale through to cobra. Exhale, take it back, kneeling or down dog. Inhale, right foot forward, lunge. Exhale, bow it down into a forward fold. Press down, rise up, inhale. Exhale, hands to the heart. Take a breath and we'll do the other side. Last round. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, touch the earth. Inhale, left foot back, lunge. Exhale, right foot back, down dog. Inhale to the knees, lift the heart. Exhale, relax into child pose. Inhale through to cobra. Exhale, take it back to downward facing dog. Inhale, this time the left foot forward into lunge. Good. Exhale, bow. Press down into the ground, really rise up, this time saluting the sun, reaching to the sky and bringing the hands to the heart to finish on an exhale. Then spend a moment in mountain pose, palms forward, heart open, shoulders rolled back and drawn down, pressing into the ground with the feet. Feeling into your energy, so maybe closing the eyes or soft gaze down at the floor. Noticing the changes that the postures of the sun salutation cause in your body. Okay, they get the circulation going, they increase the breath and the heart rate, they're working the muscles, they are flexing the spine forwards and back. So allow that to be soaked in, marinate in your sun salutation rebound. Lovely. And then we'll do something a little more static for a moment. I want you to find your belts and have them a little wider than hip width apart. You can always let the belt slide through your hands for this next bit as much as you want to. We're going to do some shoulder stretches with it. So anyone with shoulder issues go really steady, okay? You don't have to do exactly what I'm telling you to do. Please don't go into pain with this. We're looking for some nice juicy work in the shoulders and upper arms, no sharp pains, okay? So let's inhale and take the strap up above our head. Exhale, take it behind the neck and draw the strap taut. So the hands are drawing away from each other. They should be sort of in cactus pose here. And we're looking for a little bit of work in the biceps, a little bit of space across the shoulders. Good. Take it up and back down the front again. That just gets us used to the movement. If you feel a little wobbly, please make sure your feet are hip width apart or a bit wider than that. So feel nice and stable. Now we're going to take the strap back a little further behind us. So inhale up, exhale down where you were before, and then think about how much length do I need in the strap. Allow it to slip through your wrists so that you can start taking the arms back. Okay, and there'll be a point you think that's not going to go any further than that. Squeezing between the shoulder blades, you'll feel a juicy biting point just to work at for a breath, and then allow the hands to go on past. Okay, now that you've found that point and you've got the right width in the belt, let's do that again. So on the way back up, inhale, pause at that tight spot for a breath. Inhaling, exhaling, pulling the strap apart, and then continue. Inhale up, exhale over. One more time. Inhale, lift the strap. Exhale, draw it down the back to that point. Doesn't want to go any further. Inhale and exhale. Continue the journey. Well done. And inhale, back up. Imagine there's some weight to the strap, like you're lifting a weights over your head each time. So there's some effort going on. Inhale up, exhale, back down the front. Good. Now we're going to take the strap to a diagonal. So I'm going to kneel down just so that you can see me. Inhale, lift the strap up. On the exhale, bend the right arm a little, take the left arm back. Keep it straight and back. So we're looking for an opening in this front left shoulder. Again, draw the strap away from each hand. So there's some tension there, it's working there. I want you to see if you can take that left hand back a little further. Feel some stretch going on in the shoulder joint. Good. And then inhale up. And then over the other side. So keeping the right arm straight, let the left arm bend. You're trying to take the strap behind the head. So you haven't got it in front. You've got that right arm going back. Now behind the back. This opens the chest. And you should feel like a diagonal stretch going on across the body. We're trying to open up the front of the right shoulder. And then inhale up. Exhale down, release the strap. Let's put that aside right until the end of the class. And again, just take a breath, soak in how that felt in your shoulders. Give the fingers a little wriggle. And we're going to continue that work. I want you to bring the hands to the heart. Inhale there. As you exhale, sweep the hands around the back and interlace them behind you. Next, inhale, reach back through the knuckles, lift the heart forward, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then on the exhale, bring the knuckles around to the left-hand side waist. Okay, so you've got them around one side. Good. And from here, every inhale, I want you to squeeze that left elbow towards the right elbow. Every exhale, draw the knuckles forward a bit, stretch out the shoulder. You might want to relax it again. Draw the elbows together, draw the knuckles forward. You can always release one more time. Inhale, exhale. Good. And then inhale, hands. Exhale, give them a shake out, move the shoulders. Let's bring that back to the center to do it the other side. So inhale here. Exhale, sweep the hands around, interlace the fingers. You'll have done it naturally one way, and then swap that interlace. So you've got the awkward interlace of the fingers. Good. And then inhale, reach back through the knuckles, lift the heart forward, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then on the exhale, bring the knuckles forward, round to the right side of the waist. Let them settle there, drop the top of the shoulders down, and then begin to work here. So inhale, squeeze that right elbow towards the left one, so it's going behind you. Exhale, can you draw the knuckles any further forward? And don't be afraid then to back off that. Try it again. Squeezing elbows together and then drawing the knuckles forward. Okay, this should feel a lot of work, but again, no pain, please. So let's squeeze together, draw forward, and then release. Inhale, exhale here. Ah, lovely. That should give a little stretch out to the shoulders. So now we're going into our lunar flow, our lunar namaskar instead of Surya namaskar. So a salutation to the moon and her qualities. The sun is seen as masculine, the moon traditionally feminine. And this flow is meant to be gentle and soft and slow. Before we do the moon salutation, I want to explore just a little balance. And we're going to do that before we do our moon salutation, just to get you feeling a little balanced. So I want you to have one block ready. If you've got one block, you can have each end of your yoga mat. That's great. If you haven't, do not fear, do not worry. So let's start with a warm-up balance. So still facing the front of your yoga mat at the moment, the narrow edge of your yoga mat, standing with feet hip width apart. Nice deep breath in and out. Take your right foot behind the left foot, so a step behind, step back. Okay, we're going to balance on our left foot in this warrior three posture. So take the arms back, the same angle as that back leg, and really feel like there's energy, a rod through the body from the crown of the head to that back heel. When you get your cue, see how it feels to lift the back toes off of the floor and bring yourself into a balance. I want you to hug everything into the center line, so tummy, side waist, a little bit of engagement in the glutes. Chin is tucked, and we're thinking about reaching up through the crown of the head. Taking a few breaths here, you might want to explore tilting more into your warrior three. So the gaze might need to change. The fixed point that you choose on the floor or ahead of you is going to need to change. Experiment with flexing the back foot or pointing the back toes. Try and keep the hips level. That right hip is going to want to lift up. Good. And then when you feel ready to, use an inhale to rise up to standing again and come back onto both feet and breathe. So they're just checking out how our balance is. And if your balance is just not there for you today, or you want to do something different, you can use the blocks and do this posture from the ground up, okay? Otherwise, we're going to take the left toes back behind the right, so balancing on the right foot. Take your time to set up this energy, this line of energy in the body before lifting the toes off, and then check the hips are level at that point, okay? As you tilt forward, if you want to tilt forward, keep those hips level to the ground. And just like tree pose, there's no set position for the arms. So I think pointing them back in line with the leg is helpful for balance. You might prefer to take them out to the sides like an aeroplane. You can bring them to the heart, like we do sometimes in tree pose. And I find it challenging to take the arms forward. This is the classic pose, to have the arms shooting forward. Couple more breaths if you can, thinking about pushing out through that back heel or back toes, and then rising up on an inhale, exhaling down. Okay, because we're at home, the next balance we're going to look at, if you want to, you can do against a wall. It's the half moon balance, where we take one leg up again, but this time the hips are facing sideways instead of down at the ground. And it's just lovely to do this against a wall to get the feel for it, because you can have one hip against the wall. If you haven't got a wall today, or you want to have a play with it without the support of the wall, it's really great to use a block, because it extends your hand, and I find that easier than trying to touch the floor or lift the fingers off of the floor. So good to practice with a block. Again, something in the future you can play with doing without, but we're going to flow into this. And there's lots of options to stop before we get to that half moon balance, okay, as always. So turn to your left, turn to the long edge of your mat, and have your block to the right of you. If you've only got one, just have it near the top right. We'll put it in the right position when we get there. And take a nice big stride, nice big wide stride. We're going to come through warrior two and triangle before we do our balance on this side. So inhale, lift the arms out, look to your right, turn those right toes towards the edge, the narrow edge of your mat. And as you exhale, come into your warrior two. See if you can keep the shoulders relaxed, but the legs strong. That's what we're looking for in all of these postures. Grounding down into the floor to rise up. So let's change it into triangle. And today I'd like you to use the block for your triangle, just because it helps to get into the next posture we're going to look at. So inhale, straighten the right leg. Exhale, reach forward, dipping those hips back, reach forward, then down and find your block. Okay, so it should probably be just in front of your toes, something like that. Keep the hands on the hip for today. And then I want you to rotate that shoulder away from the block. So see if you can get that shoulder pointing up to the ceiling. Length through the crown of the head, length through the legs. So push down into the legs. You're lifting out and not slumping into our block. Lifting out through the torso. Good. And here's the challenge. Okay, if you want to give the half moon balance a go, bend that right knee. So now you're in more of a side angle where you can stay and work if you want to, lifting the arm up in the air or over the head. And then I think you need to move your block a little bit forward for the half balance. You'll find the right place for you. Start hopping that back foot in a little bit. And if you want to, lift the toes off the floor. So you can come back and forward onto the floor until you feel balanced. Remember, you've got that shoulder rotated and you want the hip rotated sideways as well. And you might just feel that you can lift the leg up to come into your half moon balance. If you want to give yourself a challenge, then the hands can go up into the air as well. Your gaze can be down at the floor, sideways or up. Drop the foot back down and we'll come out through warrior two. Feel strong and anchored. And then up to our standing position, turning your toes back to the side of the mat. Good. So this is just for fun. We're playing with this moon energy. Let's take the block to the left end of your mat. Let's turn the left toes this time to the front of the mat. Adjust yourself into that warrior position. Inhale, lift the arms shoulder height, lift down the left arm. Exhale, bend the left knee. Okay, own this. However it goes, going to give it your best shot and learn from it. So we're going to change into triangle pose, straightening that left leg, dipping the hips back. It helps get into it. Reaching forward and down, finding our block. Hand is going to stay on the hip for today. So it gives us this guidance to how well we're rotating our body. If the shoulder does not want to go up to the sky and you're more forward facing down at the floor, then I would suggest not doing the half moon balance today. If it feels lovely and open and easy, free and easy in your body, then by all means, when we bend our knee now, bend that left knee, hop the back leg in a little bit. I may headbutt the wall, so don't copy me if I do. Let's see how our balance is by teasing the toes on and off the floor and perhaps staying there. Okay, so the block should be a guide. We're not madly pressing into the block. We could let go of it and the fingers would just be floating above the floor. We want those hips open, across the front of the shoulders nice and open. The breath is going. I find if you flex the right foot, it helps with the balance. And when you come out, bend that standing leg a bit, land as gracefully as you can, come back into warrior and let that posture go, okay? Whether it was really steady and balanced, whether it was wibbly wobbly, really challenging, just own it and then let it go. And then inhale, straighten the legs, exhale, and step the feet together. Okay, so those poses are going to be useful in our lunar flow. Now we've warmed up a little for that. It might be helpful if you have a block at either end of the mat. If you haven't got one for either end of the mat, we're going to start to the right. Have your block to the right end of your mat to start with. And step up to the right end. Okay, so here we go with our moon salutation. Just like the sun salutation, we'll start with our hands at the heart. Inhale, let's reach the arms up. Exhale, side bend towards the center of your mat. Inhale, up again. Exhale, side bend towards the edge of your mat. Inhale, up. Now, big stride. Exhale into goddess pose. Turn the toes out to the corners of your mat and draw the arms down as though you're holding the moon. A full moon in your arms. Okay, so goddess pose, holding the moon. Feel strong, feel powerful, but have that inner softness, that feminine softness with it. Lovely. And we're going to take the arms out, so palms face down. We change into warrior two, facing your right foot to start with, and do triangle pose. So straighten the right leg, reach the right arm forward and down. This time, if you want to, you can lift the top arm up. You can look up, sideways or down. One big breath here. And then on an exhale, take both hands to frame the right foot. Let the knee bend. So we're coming into a runner's lunge. And this is where you might want to grab your block. We're going to do pyramid pose. So hop the back foot in a little to make this a little easier. Inhale here with a bent leg. Exhale, draw the hips back and bow down. You can do that twice more. So if you want a block to make the floor a little higher up. Inhale, exhale. Try and keep a long spine rather than rounding your spine to get deeper. Drawing the hips back. And then release the back knee down to the floor, ready for a low lunge into Anjaneyasana, our crescent lunge. Lift it up. Hands can come to the thighs first or straight up into the sky. Nice deep breath in here. Can make it as much or as little of a back bend as you want to. Exhale the hands back to the floor. Tuck the back toes. Walk the hands around to the side of your mat and have a little sway. Bend the knees. Okay, we're going to turn to the opposite end of the mat and do everything in reverse. So all 10 toes now pointed to the narrow edge of your mat. Drop the back knee down. Rise up into crescent lunge. Again, you can take a couple of breaths if you want to get there. Tuck the tailbone, lift the tummy, open the heart. Gaze can be forward or up. Inhale, and then exhale, frame the left foot with the hands. Tuck the toes. I'm going to do pyramid pose. You might want to hop in that back foot, maybe grab the block. Inhale with a bent knee, the left knee. Exhale, draw the hips back and straighten that left knee. And we're trying to really draw the left hip back because we're trying to get those hips straight as we bow down. Reverently, respectfully, one more bow, trying to keep this soft and gentle. Lovely. Now, hop the back foot back a little bit. We're going to grow into triangle. You might want to use your block to support under the left hand. First of all, take your right hand to the hip. Can you straighten your left leg? Good. That feels all right. Maybe you take the top hand up. So this bottom hand could be on your block. It could be on your ankle. It could be touching the floor. Nice deep breaths here. Opening it out into your triangle. Think about the crown of the head as well. Lifting through the torso. Really nice. Going to continue our journey upwards. So bend the front knee. Come up to warrior two. Trying to keep the breath deep and slow and even. Gonna inhale, reach the arms up, turn the toes to the corners of the mat. Exhale into your goddess, holding the moon. Couple of breaths here. Feeling that you've got the whole of the moon energy in your arms. Calming, soothing. Lovely. On an inhale, we're going to reach up again. On the exhale, step your feet together, palms together at the top. Lovely. And then exhale, bow towards the middle of your mat. Inhale up. Exhale, side bend towards the outside of your mat. Good. Inhale up. Exhale, hands come down to the heart. Release them to the side. Okay, again, come into this space, this inner space, either closing your eyes or soft focus at nothing in particular. And notice how these postures have affected you. Is there still heat and increase of heart rate and breath rate? Can you allow yourself to soothe and settle that energy? And whatever comes to you, own it. That lunar flow, has it affected you in different ways to the sun salutation? Inner work as well as physical body work. Lovely. Let's come back down to the floor. So turning towards the front of your mat with your hands at the heart. We'll inhale, reaching up. Exhale, flowing down. Touch the fingers to the floor in your forward fold and either step back and come to kneeling and child pose, or if you don't want to go into child pose, turn onto your back and lay on the back with your knees bent or your knees hugged over the chest, because that's where we'll be going next. If you're in child's pose, allow this to be a resting posture. So if you prefer, you can take your arms back towards the feet. Feel how that opens and rounds the back a little more. Bringing the energy down, grounding ourselves quite literally by coming to the floor. And then I'd like everybody to find their strap and come to lying on your back with the knees bent, feet flat. Before we explore a seated forward fold, I'd like us to just do a little experiment with our legs like we have done before. I want you to take your right knee over the chest for a hug. Loop the strap of your belt around the ball of the right foot and push up to the sky. So let the strap slip through your fingers. Feel a bit of tension in the strap. We don't want it just saggy. Draw the shoulders back towards the earth and take a few inhale, exhales. Inhale, bend the knee. Exhale, see what you can do to straighten that right leg, reaching up through the heel. If you're not feeling anything, trying to reach the foot towards the ceiling, then draw the foot towards the head. So once the leg is straight, draw the foot a little closer to the head until you're feeling a sensation down the back of the thigh, maybe in the calf as well. And then bend the right knee. Release the strap from around the foot. Let's do it on the other side. Left knee drawn over the chest for a hug. Allow the back to be nice and relaxed in its natural curves. And then loop the belt around the ball of the left foot and push into the strap up to the sky. Doesn't matter if your leg doesn't come completely straight, especially not to start with. Take a few breaths there, bending the knee and then pushing into the heel to straighten the leg as best you can today. This feels easy. You can draw the leg towards you. So on the exhale, feel a stretch in some way. Good. And then releasing the strap, bend that knee. You can gently roll over onto your side and press yourself back up to sitting. I just want to show you something. When we do our forward fold, see a lot of people trying to get down to as close as they can to their feet, rounding the back, heaving themselves down. Why do we expect the chest to come towards the legs if when we just turn that at 90 degrees, our legs are not coming flat down to our chest, unless you're very, very flexible. Okay, so when we're in our forward fold, if we're getting here with a flat back, that's the same angle as when we're up in the air. Don't expect too much. We're trying to open the back of the body, not try and crunch it up. So I want to do the forward fold with our strap today. Take it around the ball of both feet. Sit up nice and tall. And have the belt, again, a little bit of tension in it so that your arms are straight to start with. Shift the weight so that you're good and settled on your sit bones. Inhale here at the top. On the exhale, bend the elbows, take them out a little bit and hinge forward just a little way until you feel some resistance in the back of the legs. And then I want you to bend the knees, walk the hands forward along the strap a little bit so the strap is a bit shorter. Okay, when we bend the knees, we release the muscles at the back of the body. So see if you can get a nice tall straight spine. Inhale here. Exhale, take the elbows out to the side. Maybe you can hinge a little further forward. Creep the hands forward. And keep going like this. It might be really small, subtle movements now. Bending the knees. See if you can find that long spine. And then exhale forward. And it doesn't matter if you're nearly sitting bolt upright or you're getting the torso right down towards those thighs. I want you to find the point where you'd need to round the spine to get any further into your forward fold and work at that point. So we're finding that straight spine. And then you can make the last few breaths even more subtle. So now let the head go. You've found that point of stretch in the back of your body. Maybe the knees bend a tiny bit on the inhale, maybe they don't. Exhale, think release, release and relax. Just notice if this feels different to doing it without the belt. Now, the caution is not to use the belt to force yourself into a deeper posture. Just feel that your body wants to open slowly. And then release the belt. Walk the hands back towards the hips. And we really have done with it now. Let's release ourselves down to lying on our back and hug the knees in. If that feels good, a little rock and roll, massage that lumbar spine because it probably will have had a good stretch out. Taking the hands onto the knees, you can circle the knees around one way than the other. And then taking the feet down onto the floor, nice and wide. Take the feet about the width of the mat. Hands can rest on your hips or out by your side with a bit of space. And I want you to windscreen wiper the knees backwards and forwards, dropping them to the left and the right. At whatever rhythm suits you. The knees might be quite up in the air, they might be touching the floor. Doesn't matter as long as that gives some relief to the lower back. Before we come to our relaxation. So thinking now about whether you'd like any extra layers, any socks on, something under your head, and whether you'd like to keep the knees bent, rest the knees together with the feet still wide, or whether you'd like to take the legs out long in Shavasana, letting the toes drop away from each other. See how it feels to have your palms face up to the sky. Wriggle shoulders and hips to get yourself comfortable. Let the back be long. And then close your eyes if that's okay for you. Take a couple of nice deep breaths, allowing the body to soften down into the mat, feeling the mat is coming up to support you, to receive that relaxation. Now I want you to imagine, if you will, that you're looking at the horizon. And we're going to watch the sunrise, the sunset, the moonrise, the moonset. So starting on the right-hand side of your horizon, in the east, the sun starts creeping its way above the horizon, sprinklings of yellow appearing in the sky, the lights spreading out across the land. And the sun continues its journey in an arc during the day, rising up to the center, shining its strongest and brightest before it starts its journey to the west. Imagine it now slowly moving over to the left side of your horizon, changing the color of the sky as the sun sets, maybe reds and violets, deep oranges, reds, as the sun sets and darkness once more comes upon the ground and the moon appears. So in this inky black sky now, there might be a few speckled stars. Imagine a full moon rising up. And the sun reflecting off the moon makes it seem like the moon itself is shining down on us, this time with its silvery luminosity, different quality of light, and the coolness of the night. And then during the early hours, the sky begins to get lighter once more, until those first rays of sun break over the horizon, and we have the glorious golden sunrise once again. Think about this rhythm of day and night, this cycle, how important these opposites are to each other. Without one, we wouldn't have the other. We couldn't appreciate the day if we hadn't been in the darkness of night. So once again, thinking of embracing opposites and what they offer us. Taking another couple of deep inhales and releasing out the exhales. Wiggling fingers and toes. Having a stretch if you'd like to, or maybe hugging the knees in again. Rolling over onto one side and resting there. And before you come up, I want you to think about using your hands to press yourself up, keeping your head heavy, like that hanging fruit that we talked about at the beginning. Let the head be heavy so it's the last thing to come up. Pressing yourself up to a seated posture. And then we'll finish together by bringing our hands to the heart, thinking of this left and right coming together, opposites attracting, balancing. And we'll inhale, taking the arms up and out, palms together, exhale down the center, bringing that equanimity back to the heart as you take a vow to yourself, to our practice, to the sun and the moon, the cycles of nature, and everything we can learn from opposites. Namaste.